everybody. Welcome to the latest edition, our third edition of the Snobcast. Your host, William, here, and I've got my lovely co-host once again.
Shay Simone. Hi, everybody. Woo-woo.
All right. We are both currently doing what we're supposed to do as humans, and we're quarantined to our homes right now during this coronavirus outbreak. With that, though, we thought this would be the perfect time to talk about movies that center around a pandemic.
It's never been
Let's
more
do that now.
appropriate.
What do we mean by pandemic, Shay?
Pandemic meaning, as far as the theme of the episode and the movies that we chose, just anything having to do with viruses or, I don't know, the virus quarantine mentality, whatever people go through psychologically or, viruses, period.
Yeah.
Danger.
Yeah, I think that surmises that well.
Yeah. As well as I can put it. I'm no scientist.
Yeah, neither am I. Just your friendly neighborhood snobs here. We don't know anything about science.
Nope.
Unfortunately.
All
of our science we learned from movies. Now, to get us started, you had a list, right, of some movies that you wanted to talk about?
I do. I have quite a list.
Yeah, we talked about that. It's pretty extensive. So let's get that started. What's the first movie on your list?
Well, the first movie on my list, so I included movies that I think that I've watched that kind of center around the pandemic in general, but they may or may not be good. The first movie I actually think is really good. It's something that I really, really enjoy. It's called Mayhem, and it stars Steven Yeun from The Walking Dead and Samara Weaving from Ready or Not and The Babysitter. And the cast is lovely. It's about this weird virus that goes around. I think it's called like rage or something, but basically it brings out your animalistic impulses. So if you feel like punching someone in the face, then the virus just like makes you punch someone. And everyone just goes bananas in this building. And it's kind of like a video game. It's like a hyper-violent, hyper-sexualized, not sexualized, but hyper-sexual Scott Pilgrim kind of thing. It's fun. It's a fun action flick.
No, it's really interesting. You mean future Oscar nominee Steven Yeun.
Ooh. I still need to see Minari.
Yeah, he's coming for that trophy this year.
Ooh.
It probably won't come out till like December because everything's getting pushed back. But
yeah,
if that movie comes out this year, he's getting nominated this year. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
Honestly, if I were to watch Walking Dead, it would be for Steven Yeun. But
he's the best.
I mean, I haven't, so who cares? No.
Steven Yeun is best.
Yeah.
So totally get why you would say that and why you would feel that way.
Yeah,
because he's the best.
It's such an enjoyable movie, and he and Samara have so much chemistry and how they play off of each other. Like, 1 minute they're kissing, and then the next minute they're, like, punching each other and, like, fighting and stuff. And I don't know. It's a lot of fun. It is quite graphic, but it's got some great choreography. And it's just got so much charm, and I love watching it over and over again.
Not the best part, though, is the charm of a film, something like that.
Yeah. I mean, it's not, it's not the best movie. It may not be like super memorable to people or whatever, but it's just it's such a fun action flick. And the cast legitimately looks like they're having so much fun on set. Like they're just gone bananas.
It's super important too when you're making a movie such as this one, something so off the wall, that you actually are having fun.
Yeah.
And so I like the fact that you say that and that that's kind of projected on the screen. And that's the only way for it to work, right?
Yeah. And it works.
Excellent. That's awesome.
My
first pick
is
the wonderful 1995 sci-fi thriller, 12 Monkeys. Now, most people, when they hear about 12 Monkeys, they don't think pandemic movie. But if you know the story of the movie, Bruce Willis comes back in time to 1995 to try and solve a pandemic in his timeline that started in that particular year.
Mm-hmm.
And because he's saying things, that are crazy, like, there's going to be a pandemic that wipes out the whole world, he ends up getting put in a psych ward. And one of the patients there is a guy who steals every scene, played by Brad Pitt.
Mm-hmm.
He's sort of like a eco-terrorist, I guess you could say. And he's pretty dope character. I really like Brad Pitt chewing all the scenery in this one, and Bruce Willis is actually trying, which is something we haven't seen him do in about 20 years.
He's old. He's old and tired and needs a paycheck.
Yeah, well, this was before he needed the paycheck and when he used to earn it. So definitely check out 12 Monkeys. Terry Gilliam directed this one, who also directed the wonderful sci-fi movie Brazil.
And
Which, if you
Zero
haven't seen
Theorem.
Brazil, it's pretty crazy.
If you want to see Christopher Walken's butt, watch Zero Theorem.
Yeah, no, his butt is in that one. Yes,
That's the
true.
only way I can advertise that movie.
Zero Theorem is also the one with Christoph Waltz. Yeah,
Wait, what'd I say?
you said Christopher Walken.
Oh shit, I'm stupid. No, I meant Christoph Waltz. I don't think Christopher Walken is in it.
No, I was gonna say I don't think he's in that. But you
No,
mean
the
Christoph
European
Waltz,
guy.
the lovely, twice Academy winning actor for supporting.
No.
He's a great actor.
No, I still have yet to see Christopher Walken's butt, so.
It's an unfortunate event for all of us here. And none of us have.
Oh.
We've all seen his dance moves thanks to Spike Jonze.
What? When?
Have you not seen the movie from Fatboy Slim? Or the music video for Fatboy Slim's Love and a Joy?
Seen that. Oh, it's so cute. Yeah, no, I love that, actually. I was
Spike Jonze is the director of that.
Huh?
Spike Jonze directed that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you showed it to me. You or Landon, showed it to me.
Yeah. Because it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's insane.
It's so cute.
I love it. Every moment of it. Just adorable Christopher Walken dancing.
It's just wholesome.
It's very wholesome. And it's what we all need in this time.
Yes, in this trying time.
In this trying times, we need a little bit of Christopher Walken boogieing the Fatboy Slim.
And speaking of trying times, my next pick is entirely relevant. I think it's what everyone thinks about nowadays when they think about coronavirus-related movies, and that's Contagion. So
well, this is just basically a horror movie at this point.
Yeah, basically. I mean, it definitely does have a lot of horrifying aspects. When I watched it way back when, and then I actually went back not too long ago and watched some clips from it, it's definitely just Gwyneth Paltrow. I don't agree with a lot of things about her person, but she really brings it. She really brings a really great performance as just this lady living her life, and then all of a sudden, her body goes, batshit, and she's dead. The end.
That's pretty much it. And doesn't, Matt Damon play her husband?
Matt Damon. Yes.
Matt Damon.
Yes. He plays the cuckolded husband.
Yes, he's very cuckolded.
He plays a cuck. And that's it. That's his role in the movie. That's his name.
When he looked at the script, why am I cuck again?
His name is Cuck Norris. But yeah, Contagion. Contagions an alright movie. What's his name? I'm really bad at names right now.
Soderbergh.
Yeah, Soderbergh. I wanted to say Stephen Sondheim for some reason.
This is not Sweeney Todd, no.
No. I actually started watching that yesterday. I got distracted or something. But overall, solid movie, solid outbreak movie. I don't recommend watching it for people who are, already paranoid, aka the people who are hoarding all the fucking toilet paper.
Which, by the way, you don't need that much toilet paper, guys. Come on.
Yeah, it started with the toilet paper, and then it migrated into paper towels, and then diapers, and then feminine products. Dude. Ugh. I don't know.
What are you going to do with that tampon, dude? You going to stick it up your butt? Come on.
Tampons are annoying, though. I
don't know anything about that. I can't relate.
It might be TMI, but personally, I hate tampons. They hurt. Maybe I put them in
can't
wrong.
Relate, sorry.
Off-topic TMI, but yeah. It's an okay movie.
Way too much.
Way too much. Sorry. I'm just salty. I'm just salty. People are crazy.
This is absolutely true. They are crazy.
Yeah, and those people should definitely not watch this movie. It gets into a lot of the technical aspects and the socio-political aspects of what happens in an outbreak such as that, and kind of the science rooting behind how an outbreak like that would start, and how people of authority would be dealing with it versus the everyman. It kind of jumps from person to person. Kate Winslet is in it. Marion Cotillard.
We all know how I feel about Kate Winslet.
Oh yes, I know quite well.
She is the best. She is the absolute best.
She is the best.
Love her so much.
So far, Little Children is still my favorite performance from her.
The fact that you didn't say Eternal Sunshine makes me want to turn this off
I
now.
still need to see it, but people keep like trying to spoil it for me, and it makes me paranoid. I need to like distance myself from it so that way I could go in like absolutely cold. That's what I want to do.
Hold on, you've never seen Eternal Sunshine?
Mm-mm. I have to be in the right mindset, dude.
So that's totally going to be a
all
YouTube
out of
video, is
respect.
you watching
It's all out
Eternal
of respect
Sunshine.
for the movie and the cast and Michel Gondry. Michel Gondry?
Michel Gondry, yeah.
Yeah, French guy.
It's very French.
Is he still alive? He's still alive, right?
Yeah, he's very, very much still alive.
Okay. Do you know who directed the Pagan Poetry Björk music video? The fashion designer?
Probably Tom Ford.
No, it was the guy who I think he committed suicide.
What's the video called?
Pagan Poetry. The one where she's wearing that like gorgeous dress and she's like she just starts ripping it off and stuff, and it's about like sadomasochism and pleasure and sex and all that. It's Björk's sex tape, basically.
Yeah, she's
Fun facts.
Interesting one, that Björk, I tell you.
I love her. She's mom.
Alexander McQueen.
Yes. Super off track, but fun trivia for the listeners. Oh yeah,
very
Contagion.
Fun. Yes.
Right, okay. Very saturated looking movie. Very matter of fact, kind of technical. It's not really my cup of tea. When I was watching it, I got kind of bored because I wasn't super invested in the characters. But if you're also like me and you're kind of interested in the more technical, matter of fact aspects of kind of just playing out as realistically as possible what would happen in a pandemic that bad. So basically, if we were Italy right now, I think that would be the situation. And yeah, it is horrifying.
Yeah, you're totally right.
Yeah.
You're totally right about that.
Yeah. Also, for all the people, going through horrible times right now, whether you got laid off of your job or you're trying to find work or some sort of income, or someone who got hit, or you are suffering yourself, much kudos to you, and I hope things get better for you.
Also, good riddance to Harvey Weinstein, who was actually just diagnosed with COVID-19. So.
Oh shit! Really?
This is COVID-19's babyface turn.
I hope it wipes him out. No, he'll suffer.
Fuck that guy, dude.
He'll suffer. That'd be funny if he's probably actually getting medical help, isn't he?
Well, you have to. He's in prison, so. Because that's how the American health system works. People in prison get
honestly,
better medical treatment than people
every
not, so.
STD under the sun, like all at once, just like all of it, like herpes, AIDS, crabs. What else is there?
Yes,
the thing that
gonorrhea,
makes your penis look like a cactus. That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Anal fissures.
Stuff, yeah.
All of it. That'd be lovely. All right, what's your next pick?
On to my next pick. Mine is directed by, speaking of Portuguese and other countries, mine is directed by Brazilian Portuguese director Fernando Meirelles, who did The Two Popes last year, and it's called Blindness.
Yes.
So Blindness basically is about this. It's based on a novel, and it's about these characters who a pandemic strikes the world, and people start suddenly going blind.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem is it's a communicable disease, so other people can get it.
Yeah. Wait, how do they catch it?
No one knows.
Oh. Ooh, ambiguity.
Yeah.
Scary.
Yeah.
Ooh.
They call it the white sickness. I guess because the only thing you're going to see when you're blind is white, I suppose. I don't know.
Yeah.
But the cast is stacked top to bottom. Julianne Moore, Mark Ruffalo, Gael Garcia Bernal, Danny Glover, Alex Braga. This thing is loaded top to bottom with a great cast. It's got a really cool script. Fernando Morales is so talented as a director. If you've never seen any of his movies, I definitely recommend that, as well as basically anything else he's done. Two Popes, Constant Gardener, even though it's a bit long. He's very talented, and you should check that out for sure. Blindness, that's the name of it.
It sounds like one big horrible in a good way metaphor
Yes.
Ignorance.
Yes. It's
Yay.
it does not wear its you know, subtlety on its sleeve.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah. It's a cool concept, though.
Yeah, it's very cool. It's based on a novel though, so that's probably why the concept works so well. Is because it's like it's a novel.
Yeah. Oh shit!
You know, the story's already been tested.
Yeah. Okay. I just thought of another one.
Ooh.
Is The Road a viral outbreak movie? Is that?
I mean, is it though? I don't know that it is.
So the problem is, I never watched it all the way through because I got bored.
So it's for sure post-apocalyptic, but that's not what we're talking about here.
Dystopian. Well, like, why is it post-apocalyptic? What happened?
There was like an extinction event, and stuff just started happening.
Wasn't there like a plague thing though? I don't know. I never got
Not
around
really.
to that part. It was just like The Walking Dead basically. But I don't know. I was just bored.
Yeah, no. Yeah, it's yeah, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that this one would count for what we're talking about today.
Yeah.
But if we're talking about post-apocalyptic, yeah, no, 100%.
All right.
You know, that would count.
Yeah.
But not in this case.
Ooh, I Am
What
Legend.
is your next movie?
Okay. So my next pick is from a director that I respect very much. His first movie, his directorial debut, is one of my favorite movies about alcoholism ever. It's one of the most realistic portrayals I've ever seen on the screen. It's called Krisha.
Yes.
What's the director's name again? I can't remember.
Starts
with a T.
What is his name?
I can't remember names.
He's got 3 names.
It's
Trey Edward Schultz.
Yes, that guy. So, what I'm getting to is It Comes at Night, or as I like to call it, It Comes at Night. Does it though?
Sort of.
Not really.
I
mean, it came out.
I also saw Waves, which I didn't like. So.
Oh, you didn't like Waves?
Not really.
I still need to see it. So I'm always hearing things about it, like in the A24 film group, and people love it and stuff. I don't know. I just need to see it. But other people are just like, it's a white guy directing a movie about black people. So
yeah,
who knows? Who knows? I just need to see it. But
so,
yeah, I didn't.
It Comes at Night.
I didn't like it. It was boring. I've seen movies like it before. Like another movie on my list. I'm just gonna go through it real quick. Here Alone, which is a zombie movie. It was pretty similar to that, but I don't know. You just expect it to be like a scary movie from the title and the posters and the advertising and like, oh shit, like something's gonna come and get them or something. Like something creeps around during the nighttime and they have to hide or whatever. And I thought that's what I was in for, but really it was just like a drama about a plague and people being paranoid, which is fine. But it was just boring. I was bored and I wasn't invested.
So I agree with you. Typically, the biggest sin a movie can commit is being boring. Yeah, we'd agree on that pretty much.
Yes, indifference is a sin. I would rather hate something than not care at all.
There is one more instance in which you can be even worse than being boring.
Offensive?
You can waste a talented cast, which is exactly what this does.
Yeah.
They wasted that boy who had a great Sundance, Christopher Abbott.
Christopher and your girl, Riley Keough, who was also had a great Sundance.
Had a great Sundance, yes.
Yeah. And I mean, the rest of the cast was pretty solid. What's his name? Joel Edgerton?
Yeah, Joel Edgerton.
Yeah. He's a really good actor, and the son and the mom were pretty good too.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously they can act. It's just the story was just so flat, and it relied so heavily on you caring for these characters and the drama and them just being paranoid. Ooh, do we let this new family into our house because they have a baby and they need help and shit, or do we just leave them behind? And that whole dilemma. But I was just like, do what you gotta do. I don't care. You could kind of see where everything was going, and I don't know. It didn't hit me like it wanted to. I think it wanted to be more like dramatic and emotional, and I don't know, make a statement about, I don't know, what we our, I don't know, what we resort to in those kind of situations, kind of reflecting on a heavier level what's happening now. You know, people hoarding resources for themselves, you know, it's almost kind of like every man for himself, as far as that goes. But yeah, like I said, I just felt like my time was wasted, honestly. I was in it for like the darker horror aspect, but the title is just so misleading. And it's not that it's slow. Parts of it are kind of creepy, but there wasn't really any redeeming aspects to me. Yeah,
I think that's fair. I think that's totally fair.
Yeah, wouldn't watch it. Can't recommend it. Nothing comes at night. It's just, it is what it is. It's such a weird title. I wonder if he even, like, if there was something changed about the story, or if someone told him he had to call his movie that or something, because it doesn't make any fucking sense, and I hate it.
It's a weird title for sure. And like you said, it doesn't really fit what happens in the film. Mm-hmm. So that's sort of the downfall of the film in general is none of it makes any sense, and we don't get why it's happening. Yeah. And then the title just doesn't help. And then Kelvin Harrison is the kid who plays the son in there. Mm. He's in Waves also, but he's also in Loose. So the guy's had a great career so far for such a young guy. Yeah. He's been doing some amazing work, and he's just wasted, like, this whole movie is just a waste of talent and resources, and A24 can and has done better than this. This thing came out really close to The Black Coat's Daughter, which is a much better horror film.
The what? Oh, The Black Coat?
The Black Coat's Daughter.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I still need to see that one. That's with Emma Roberts and, dang, what's her name?
Emma Roberts and the girl from Sabrina, yeah.
Yeah. Really great actresses, but yeah, I have nothing else to say about it. It's just a meh movie. Can't recommend it. Don't watch it.
I would say that meh would be an accurate descriptor of what we're witnessing there. Meh. The next one I'm going to talk about is sort of because I like the throwback stuff a lot, and I like older movies, and so this next one is from 1976, and it's called The Cassandra Crossing. This one stars Sophia Loren, Richard Harris, Ava Gardner, and Martin Sheen, Burt Lancaster. And is about a Swiss terrorist who's infected and may infect other passengers of a train that is headed for a derelict bridge.
Oh. It's a thriller?
What?
It's a thriller?
Sort of, insofar as it's like more of a disaster thriller movie.
Yeah.
And you know how the 70s had like all those disaster films come out around each other that were all-star casts?
Yeah.
Well, this one's about a pandemic on a train as opposed to people getting buried in under the sea or right. What are the other ones, like the Black Nautilus? What was that one? That was another one, right?
Black Nautilus? I have no idea. Oh, well, I remembered that one Eric Roberts movie that I was talking about before. Landon showed it to me, actually. It's called Runaway Train, and I did not like it. But, I mean, Eric Roberts is pretty funny in it, so... And he's actually trying, so I guess I gotta give him that.
I mean, for once, right?
For once. And Danny Trejo makes, like, a cameo I think in a prison scene. He's like, I don't know, he like fights in prison, and I think that's pretty much it. So, that's cool.
What the hell?
It's so random. He's just
weird.
Bulky Hispanic dude just fighting, and that's it. That was like the start of his career.
That's just such a weird thing.
Yeah.
Like, that's just totally weird. I don't get that.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm always down to watch Sophia Loren in a movie. She's amazing.
Yes.
Oh.
She is.
Yeah.
I love her.
Is she still alive?
She's what now? She's still alive, yeah.
Yeah? Oh, yay.
Yeah.
Good for her.
Yeah, she's definitely still alive. Which is good, because, national treasure, even though she's not from this country.
Mm-hmm. I just had a random thought. Do you think... Okay, so this is kind of dark, okay? But it's still kind of on topic. Do you think Tom Hanks is going to make it?
Yeah, he'll be fine.
Okay. Because that's what I thought, like, he's a well-off dude. he can get any medical resources in the world, but I read that he wasn't doing so well. Like his health has been.
Well, he has diabetes, so that doesn't help.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he is an older gentleman, but yeah, I hope he makes it through.
He has that diabetes.
The diabetes. We pray
which
for
doesn't
Tom
help
Hanks.
anything, you know what I mean? So,
yeah, and he's
so I'm excited to hear what you have next because so far you've had some
bangers, hits, definitely. Well, what I have next is a 2-for-1, and they are actually movies that I would definitely recommend for my fellow indie horror lovers, my Shudder subscribers, anyone who's looking for like a little movie to kind of multitask to, but also something that delivers a really cool story and really cool special effects and stuff. I would recommend the Contracted series. So there's 2 movies, and it's about the zombie outbreak basically. But it focuses more, it kind of like The Fly. It takes a lot of inspiration from The Fly, both of them. They focus a lot on the deterioration and the decay of the body and the transformation into just a person losing their conscience and just trying to fight it as much as possible. And they kind of work off of different like themes. Like the first one, the virus is contracted through violence. When this woman, she's gay, but she gets taken advantage of while she's drunk or high or something by a man, and she ends up getting the virus from him. But the second one focuses on like love and protection and relationships more so, and kind of what that means, because we need people and we need to be connected as much as like self-isolation is a necessary thing in this sort of situation or that sort of situation. But no matter what, like you want to be with people, but at the same time you want to protect them. So it speaks a lot on connection, I think. And the characters are really cool. Like you actually feel something for the characters. Like it's not the most memorable pair of movies, but they're just super cool to watch. And I'm always there for like the weird scenes when like the fingernails fall off or some shit. I love that. It's so well done. I love it. I love body horror, and the gore is so well done. And yeah, I would definitely recommend this for horror lovers and anyone who's watched The Fly. I would recommend this too because it definitely puts a spotlight on the transformative aspects. Yeah, pretty well done movies that no one knows about, unfortunately. Yeah.
That's an interesting pick there, Contracted. I'll definitely not be checking that one out. I love The Fly, and it's one of my favorite horror films, but it's just one of those things where I'm not gonna.
Too icky.
Not gonna do that.
I live for that
it's
shit.
too much for me.
All right, what's your next
film
pick?
Might be too much for others in a different way. Ooh. I went with an absolute classic from 1957, Ingmar Bergman's The Seventh Sea. Now, it's not directly about a plague, but if you think about it, it takes place during the Black Death of the 1300s, when Death encounters a knight and asks him for to play a game of chess for his soul.
Yeah. And Ingmar Bergman, he always plays a lot on the psychological aspects of these really flawed characters. I always find that's really interesting.
That's true. I think a lot of his movies are very much more cerebral than a lot of the stuff.
Oh, I love that word. Cerebral. That's pretty, yeah.
Thank you. I use good words.
Good job.
No, it's 96 minutes. It's not too bad.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, I always commend a good death movie. I always love it when just death is personified. It's always interesting.
What I think is funny is it's been mocked, that particular scene of the chess playing.
Right.
It's been mocked in several other movies. 500 Days of Summer, the Looney Tunes have done it.
Yeah. It's iconic.
So, R.I.P. to Max von Sydow, who plays the knight in that movie. That's my pick. What do you got?
I have another little indie horror movie. It's a found footage movie this time. And it's also kind of a body horror transformation movie, but it's a little different. I don't even when I think about it, I don't know if it necessarily even fits on the list. But I mean, it kind of has to do with like it has to do a lot with like sickness and trying to like the ambiguity of not knowing what you're going through, and you kind of just have to like figure it out along with the characters, and it's really interesting because oh, I haven't even said the name of the title yet. It's called Afflicted, and you can find it by looking up that poster of the bald guy's head like cracking and shattering apart or whatever. So you can tell like some shit's gonna go down with this dude. Like his body is gonna start just falling apart or whatever. So a bunch of stuff happens. These two guys are traveling all over the world and they're vlogging or whatever. One of the dudes shack up with this lady, and before he know it, he has the worst STD of his life. Some weird shit is happening, but he's also like getting these weird superpowers, and his buddy is just trying to help him out, but also wondering like, you know, is this guy like dangerous? Should I stick around? Yada yada yada. I guess I shouldn't really like give away what the movie is actually about. But yeah, pretty interesting, pretty I think it's a fun movie. It's a good multitasking movie. I like to multitask a lot to those kind of movies. So yeah.
Mostly a good multitasker because you don't have to think too much about what's going on.
Yeah, exactly. It's not all handed to you, but you see a lot of their relationship as they go through it. You experience it along with them. And as far as found footage, it's really well done and very in your face.
I'm glad you mentioned that because that goes right into my next pick as well, which is also a found footage film. Probably one of the best ones ever made, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It's 2007's Wreck.
Yay! Get wrecked.
That's right. Which is exactly what happens with Game Balaguero and Paco Plaza's movie about a reporter who goes into these like tenement apartments because there's some sort of weird disease that's affected everybody that lives in there in that apartment complex, and they're trying to stop this thing from spreading. And what happens is it turns everybody who's afflicted with it into camp. We go in there with our reporter and her cameraman and have to experience that firsthand, and that's not fun.
Yeah. It's like I said with the last movie, like found footage is supposed to be very in your face. This is like 100 million times worse. It's
the worst thing ever.
It's quite intense, and the makeup is really cool. It's really convincing. It dares you to look away. All that stuff. You want to like be watching the movie through your fingers, kind of thing.
This movie dared me to watch it.
Yeah.
I was like, no, stop it. No, stop it.
Yeah. It's a fun ride. It's a good time.
And like any good movie, of course, they had to put out a sequel and a prequel and all this other crap that's not any good.
Yeah.
And honestly, the remake is not good either. So
yeah.
The remake is called Quarantine.
The American
and I don't recommend it.
Yeah, America does that. We fuck things up.
Yeah, I don't know why we insist on pissing on everything else that everybody else wants to do.
Yeah, I think it was big in that era too. That was pretty much around the same time Martyrs came out. And Inside, the French film, the 2006 French film, and then they also made remakes of both of those. So I think
I don't want to talk about either of those because they're both like, ugh.
Apparently, oh yeah, and I think it started with the Japanese remakes actually, and then.
What is your next pick, young lady?
Okay. So, side note, can you have my previous clip, right?
Yeah.
Do you think you can insert the whole like green effect thing in there?
The what?
My story about reading the script of the green effect, because I don't want to have to go through it all over again.
Yeah, I'll pop it in there.
Okay, so my next movie is it's a really good like dumb movie. It's not something that I recommend anyone would pay for. I guess it is like a virus kind of thing. It's kind of like a way dumber version of what was it, your film Blindness?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's The Fucking Happening. It's The Happening.
Ah!
Yeah.
God, I hate this movie so
I
much.
recommend, like, anyone who watches it, decides to watch it, thanks M. Night Shyamalan. People, like, get into groups and get unsober real quick because it's pretty funny. I love to laugh at it. It's like the best shit ever, but also the worst.
It's the worst thing ever.
Yeah, but there's so many memes. Like Mark Wahlberg, he's like, "What? No!" And then like when the guy he just steps into the lion pen and he just lets the lion like eat his arm off or something. It just tears his arm off. He's like, "Durr." He just doesn't do
I
anything,
hate
and
that
everyone's
movie
like,
so
"Oh
much.
my god!" And then everyone's just fine. It's so weird. It's like a fever
It's so
dream.
bad. Like, ugh, I hate it.
What is M. Night
I hate
Shyamalan
it so
thinking?
much.
What goes through his brain? He's like, oh my god, this is so transcendent. This is the best shit ever. This is so
I am the
scary.
next Spielberg. This is brilliant.
Yeah, he's like, oh my god, the commentary. I don't know.
I hate him so much.
Honestly, I can't say that like any of his movies, except for Split, I would ever watch again. Honestly, like
Well, I
all
mean,
of
like
his
I said,
movies.
The Sixth Sense when it first came out was great because not everybody knew the twist. You weren't around for these times. Let me tell
Yeah,
you.
no, I wasn't. I couldn't experience the twist. So I grew up
No.
being told the twist over and over again. And I See Dead People kind of sucks, but at the same time, like, I don't know. When I watched it for the first time, I realized that it was just mostly a gimmick movie. I couldn't really buy any of the characters. Watching it back through and knowing the twist, I'm like, okay, this is actually really obvious. Like, Bruce Willis is just talking to his wife and she's not talking to him, and it's like super weird and awkward, kind of stilted. Like, I guess it makes sense, and it would be like clever in someone's head, but it also isn't. I don't know. It was just like a gimmick movie. Like The Shining. Like, I knew a lot of what happened in The Shining and the ending, basically, but it still managed to bring so much and surprise me. The Sixth Sense doesn't have that. Like, I couldn't lean into
Well,
any of
not
the
after its initial
characters.
watch,
And,
no.
huh?
Not after its initial watch, no.
Yeah, no. It's just M. Night Shyamalan is a gimmicky director, and I don't know how he was able to make Split so good. I swear to God, there must have been like someone over his shoulder being like, "Oh no, maybe we should do this or have this twist." I think like well, I mean, of course he has like a whole like team of writers and editors or just like, maybe we could do this and this with the story or whatever. But I think Split is his best movie still. I really do.
Yeah, it's a Blumhouse picture. That's the guy who he had on his back watching him
Yeah.
his every move, Jason Blum.
But then fucking Glass came out.
Oh, God,
I was
that's a
so
bad
right.
movie.
People were just like, "What? The trailer is fire, dude." And I'm like, "This
Yeah,
is
it's
the
bad.
dumbest shit ever. This is the dumbest shit ever I've ever seen." And then people started watching it and they were like, "Wow, this is so bad." I'm like, "What did I say? What did you think was going to happen?"
Yeah, they were just so excited because Split was so good.
Yeah, I think they could have just left it at Split and had the little cameo at the end, but they had to make it a whole extended universe, and it was so random.
Of course they did. That's what sells nowadays. They can't make stories that stand alone.
Yeah.
That would be too much.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess at some point someone's gonna make the movie, but why did it have to be M. Night Shyamalan?
Yeah,
I
no.
hate it. I
The
know
Happening is
Unbreakable
bad.
is his property or whatever, but you know what? I still haven't
The
seen
Happening is
Unbreakable.
bad.
I still haven't seen the first Unbreakable movie, so
It's great. You'll like it. It's actually good.
maybe I need to see that first before I say
Yeah.
Split is the best M. Night movie. But yeah,
No.
The Happening.
I also would like to point out that The Happening wastes Zoe Deschanel, which is a crime.
Yeah. She just is dumb. Everyone in this movie is just dumb.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's funny, but it's also just like, what am I watching? Who made this? Who
Just sad at what it
made
is.
this? It's funny too because I was watching a review of Lady in the Water not too long ago, And I think that'd
God,
also
please.
be like a really funny movie to watch with unsober people.
Yeah,
Or just a group of people. Just grab some
yeah.
nachos, go on a I'm definitely not promoting pirating or streaming or whatever, but do what you gotta do. Wink wink. Watch Lady in the Water or The Happening and just roast it. Roast them. It's a good time.
It's
Yeah.
bad. They're just bad movies.
Yeah. What's your next pick?
My next pick is a guilty pleasure of mine from director Neil Marshall, who did a movie very similar to my last pick in his, he did a movie back in 2006 called The Descent.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is the one that followed up The Descent, and it's the last really good movie that he made. It's called Doomsday.
Doomsday.
This one is basically about this thing called the Reaper virus that's infected Scotland. They, of course, can't, contain it, so the British government builds a massive 30-foot wall and isolates Scotland from the rest of Great Britain.
Yeah.
Now they basically have left the Scots to fend for themselves. Rona Mitra's in it, and I love her, and she's amazing in this thing. Tyler Bates' music is everything you need a film like this to be. It's rapid and on fire.
Nice.
I love this movie. It's the best Resident Evil movie that's ever been.
So it's a Resident Evil movie, but not.
Oh yeah, so it mixes like Resident Evil with like 28 Days Later, which I'm sure we'll get to here in a bit.
Oh yeah, very soon. It's coming up.
Those two movies were kind of put together. It would be Doomsday, and a little Mad Max sprinkled in.
Huh. Those are some very strong references.
It's a weird movie, and it's by no means a good movie, but I just had such a fun time with this thing.
Yeah, and in the end, like, that's all that really matters. Like, did you have a good time or did you not? Like, you could say whatever you want about whatever movie, like, oh, it's a bad movie, but did you have a good time? Did you feel like it was worth watching? Yes.
Yes.
That's what's important.
Yes. I mean, any movie that has Susie and the Banshees on the soundtrack, yeah, all right. We get it.
Oh, that's an interesting argument, though. Like, it has a good soundtrack, so therefore it must be a good movie.
With a movie that goes 700 miles an hour, you need the music pulse with you.
Yeah. I love Susie and the Banshees, though.
Who doesn't?
It's such a great movie. Oh, the Batman soundtrack. What was it? Batman Returns.
I like Batman Returns, first of all.
Oh, so good. That's my favorite Batman movie still.
It's the best one.
Yeah, honestly. Catwoman. Michelle Pfeiffer is Catwoman.
Oh, God, yes. Dan DeVito as the Penguin. Let's go.
The casting is just so perfect. Oh, my gosh.
Anybody wants to fight us on that? You know where we're at.
Yeah.
Come fight us.
Find me. My address is bleep.
We'll get to that in a minute.
Just like my address.
What's your next pick while we're talking about Doomsday?
My next pick is, it's directed by the father of zombie outbreak movies, George Romero. Woo-hoo.
Yay!
It's Day of the Dead, and why Day of the Dead is the only one that I'm talking about as far as George Romero is because it's the only George Romero movie that I've seen all the way through, or I've been able to see all the way through at this moment. But I love this movie. It's one of the best zombie outbreak movies I think ever, except for like a couple more movies coming up after this. But yeah, I think zombie outbreak movies are appropriate because people act like zombies and it's still a virusy thingy. But Day of the Dead just has so many weird like characters and strange plot lines, but it all like meshes and works. The characters are like in this bunker thing, and this is after Night of the Living Dead, I believe. And what is it? They're scientists, and they're these like army dudes, and the army dudes are like, we need to kill all the zombies, and the scientist dude is like, we can rebuild him, and they try to rehabilitate the zombie, and it actually fucking works, and I love it so much. Like, the zombie is just like, it's almost kind of sad. Like, he's given stuff that's familiar to him, and his, like, humanity starts being restored. It's so bonkers. And, the characters are really great. They're really fun to watch. Like I said, the rehabilitated zombie was my favorite part. He's so cute. But yeah, it also deals a lot with, like, trauma having to do with, like, the first initial wave of the zombie outbreak. And the main character goes through, like, PTSD and stuff, and she has nightmares, and it's all really interestingly delivered. The special effects are still really good. They still really hold up. And it gets to be intense near the end. Like, I don't know, I'm not really one to, like, fall into that stuff easily. Like, it kind of takes a lot for me sometimes to feel anything, but it is intense, and it's just overall a fun, thrilling movie, and it's a classic. It's a great
I think that the
movie.
practical effects help a lot with these sort of things.
Yeah. We stand practicals. I think everyone does.
Not everyone does.
Ooh.
There are those heathens out there that say it's CGI or go home.
That's weird. I mean, sometimes it's, like, necessary if you're, like, making a freaking movie in outer space or whatever. A freaking Avengers Endgame or something, but no. Practical effects will always be better because they'll always hold up. Forever.
Yep, there won't be that uncanny valley feeling that you get with CGI.
Yeah, like, take The Irishman, for example. Like, I just watched the trailer for that. I haven't seen the thing all the way through because it's fucking long. But, I mean, it's cool to see Joe Pesci again and all the, like, original dudes from those gangster movies in the 70s. But, like, you look at their fucking faces and it's like the fucking Polar Express. I was just laughing the whole time. I was like, oh my god, what'd they do to them? It looks like fucking Jeff Bridges and Tron Legacy. But the same.
Now that is
it looks
bad.
The same.
That's some bad CGI.
Ugh. And, like, it's good CGI. It just doesn't look real enough. Like, you can tell, like, something isn't right. And, you know, we all know what younger Al Pacino and Robert De Niro and Joe Pesci look like. And that's not it. CG.
Yeah, we know what they look like because they have movies with them in it.
Yeah. Just practical effects forever. They'll always hold up, and that's one of the reasons why George Romero's movies, I think, still hold up so well, is because he knew how to use practical effects to his advantage. He knew how to make.
You're 100% right on that. I agree with you there.
Yeah.
And I think you said Day of the Dead, right?
Yes.
That's a fun movie.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun, actually. That's one of those times where it's, like, weird but fun.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's a popcorn movie. It's kind of a B movie, but it's still so well done, and it is a lot of fun.
Oh, it's definitely a B movie, but it's great.
What's your next pick?
My next pick is a very popular one right now on Netflix because it's one of the only films of this ilk on Netflix, and it's 1995's Outbreak.
Oh, yeah, I saw that on Netflix. I added it to my list.
Yeah. Great cast once again. You got Dustin Hoffman, Renee Russo, and, of course, God himself, Morgan Freeman.
God!
In this thing. They find a virus that's infecting people in California, and they try to isolate it. Now, the CDC sends out people to try to stop this and isolate it and make it so that it doesn't happen anymore. Mm-hmm. What happens is a monkey gets loose and starts to, cause havoc. You know, they got the CDC wanting to stop it. Then you have this military man wanting to weaponize it.
Yeah.
And it's a strain that mutates quickly and it spreads like the flu.
Yeah. So it mutates. So it adapts.
Yeah. And what's even more telling is that it spreads in a movie theater.
Yeah. Ooh.
In the movie. And holy crap. If you weren't scared before, you will be now. Wolfgang Petersen, the director of this movie, he's not exactly what you would call a peddler of the arts, I guess would be the proper term. Huh. He's not known for his, great poise when making movies. You know, he's got Troy, The Perfect Storm, Air Force One.
Oof.
But then he also did The Never Ending Story and Das Boot. So
Never Ending Story. The origin of
that's
all
right.
nightmares.
That's right. Never Ending
Atreyu!
Story. Hit it, Lamal.
That poor horse.
That poor horse.
That's
He
like
didn't
the most
deserve that.
morbid way to kill a horse. Or any animal.
Drowning slowly in mud? Yes.
Well, not just that, but the horse is just like, the horse endgamed himself. He was just like, I give up.
He's like, I'm
I'm
dead.
dead. It's so morbid.
He's like,
He committed
I don't think
suicide.
so.
So bad.
I mean, what's he supposed to do, you know? I mean, what's he supposed to do? What is this horse supposed to do?
Yeah, the horse is just like, well, I guess that's it.
That's it. That's the end of it.
Yeah.
And then Atreyu's just like, oh my god, no.
Yeah.
Shut up, Atreyu.
Oh, traumatic.
You let this happen.
Falcor is a nightmare. I love Falcor, but he's fucking crazy looking. That's so weird, though. I didn't know that he directed Neverending Story. The same guy who directed Outbreak and Troy directed Neverending Story.
Yeah, weird, right?
That's bananas. Jesus Christ.
The 90s is a hell of a decade.
a lot of cocaine. A lot of
drugs. The 90s, man. Shit. I mean, you're coming off the cocaine from the 80s.
Jesus Christ. Yeah.
It's a crazy place. But Outbreak, it's on Netflix. Check it out, guys.
Yeah. I'm actually gonna bump up my next pick to now, or one of my later picks to now, because you said something interesting, like a monkey gets loose. And I think, thinking about it, that kind of inspired the origin of the rage virus in 28 days later, and 28 weeks later. Like, the initial opening scene is basically, it's in Britain, and the equivalent to PETA are like, we're gonna free you, chimpanzees, and the scientist is like, hell no, those are infected chimpanzees, but they're still like, no, we're gonna free these apes, and yeah, everyone gets wasted. But I think it's interesting. I think
this is why PETA are bad.
Yeah, stupid fucking people. Like, that's such a, I don't know. Watching it for the first time, I was like, that's kind of random. That's kind of convoluted. But when you talked about the thing from Outbreak, it kind of makes sense now. Like, maybe it was like a major nod to that movie, that film in particular. But yeah, 28 days. Like, every zombie movie that comes after 28 days and 28 weeks later owes everything to these movies. Like all zombie movies, George Romero's movies, they've all been leading up to 28 days later. And it's not like the smartest movie ever. Like, a lot of the character decisions are like, why would you do that? Or why aren't you doing this? Or whatever. And how does that make sense? Or, I don't know, people just making stupid decisions. Like, you just wake up from a coma and you're just walking around and no one's around. You don't read the fucking newspaper. Good job on that, Cillian Murphy. But it is one of the most intense zombie movies ever. Like, I literally feel tired after watching the both of them, and I think they're both really good. The first one is definitely better, but I still think the second one is really good, and I think it kind of doesn't get enough credit because it works on its own. The performances are all really good in all of them. You become attached to the characters and you really care for the characters. The Walking Dead has nothing on 28 days and 28 weeks later when it comes to zombies, the zombies themselves. Like, these are the fast, really scary fucking zombies where they just, I don't know, it's not even like they're after brains. They just want to spread the virus, and that's all they want to do. And they, like, projectile vomit blood everywhere and stuff. It's so well done and so creepy. And the movie itself, it's really weird. It almost looks like it's filmed on VHS or something. Like, the quality isn't all there, which still really works for it, but nonetheless, it's still a really what do you call it? It's still a really ambitious movie. Like the cast of extras is huge. There's so many like crazy people and then zombies and just you see all the environments, all the sections of Britain or whatever, however they did it, just sectioned off and stuff. I don't know. It's just a really well done movie. And
I
Danny
think it
Boyle is a
works
great
on a
director.
number of different levels. I agree with you.
Yeah, definitely. The music is great. I think the composer's name is John Murphy, if I'm correct.
I'm gonna I'm gonna go ahead and trust you on that one.
Yeah, just take my word for it. It's fine. But like also one of the most iconic movie themes of all time, like the dun 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 dun, and it always works so well. And it's just got that in itself adds so much charm to the movies. But like how they portray the relationships between characters and I don't know. The characters never really feel disposable, even though you know like there's gonna be some casualties going down. You still want them to like keep going, and well, most of them anyway. As if you haven't seen either of the movies, you'll see not everyone is a shining star. But yeah, just
There's some
really
real
into these
pricks in that
movies.
movie.
Yeah. But yeah, just I think honestly, I think 28 Days Later is the best zombie movie ever, period. Yeah.
That's a really, really big claim, but you know what? You backed up with some evidence,
Mhm.
so that's all we
Yeah.
can ask you for.
Yeah. Yeah. I love this movie. And I would love to watch it again and again and it's just such a gorgeous it's just so it has so much intricacy to it. Like the choreography and just the makeup and just everything that went into it. Yeah, like I said, it feels like so ambitious and so big, but at the same time, you're just on the level with these characters, and you're just going through what they're going through. That's how it feels. So yeah, highly, 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 highly recommend both of the movies. Yeah,
I like that pick. I like that pick because it's a good follow up for my next pick, which is Eli Roth's 2002 directorial debut, Cabin Fever.
Cabin Fever.
Now this one is just like Wreck. Cabin Fever got remade, but by Eli Roth in 2016,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not as good as the original.
Wait, did he? So he remade his own movie?
Yeah,
Oh, so like Funny Games.
except for it's still in English because it started in English,
Yeah.
whereas Haneke remade it, because it was in, I believe, French or Dutch.
Um.
Yeah, so the original Funny Games was, written in '97, and he remade his own movie. But here, and you're right, it is in German, French, and Italian. It took place in Austria. Okay.
Yeah.
When this one, it's just like the original, but if I'm going to point you towards a version of Cabin Fever, I'm going to point you towards the 2002 version, which is basically some college graduates go to a cabin in the woods, as most good horror films do,
Mm-hmm.
and the water becomes infected by a dead body that has a virus that causes people to basically go insane.
Yeah.
It's a flesh-eating virus. There's a
Ooh.
scene in this movie that I don't care how non-squeamish you are, it'll make you cringe a little bit.
Yeah?
One of the girls is shaving her legs in the bathtub, and she goes to shave her legs, and the entire skin of her leg goes off.
Oh. You know what? Like, I love that, but at the same time, I hate that because I hate watching scenes of people shaving themselves. Like, no matter how, like, insignificant it is. Like, I could be watching Evan Almighty, and the part where he's, like, shaving his nose, I'm like, oh, that's fucking disgusting. Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds awful, but delicious.
Yes, and there's racism and
Yay!
crazy hillbillies, and it's just a nuts movie. It's a nuts movie, and I can't more highly recommend this movie. It's one of those movies I've seen a million times,
Mm-hmm.
but every single time when something crazy happens, I'm like, ah, God,
Man.
Jesus.
Is this the kind of movie where you should like watch it in a group and everyone could be like, "Oh shit"?
Yeah, pretty much.
Or is it okay? Or is it like more of a downer kind of movie?
No, because every time I watched it with a group of people. We're all just like, oh, no.
Awesome.
Yeah, and of course this one also got sequels. They got a remake, and it had a prequel called Patient Zero that got made. So yeah, this, like any good movie, any good sort of horror film or pandemic film, got, you know, prequel, remade, and sequel. Oh God, why? Just stop doing this, Hollywood. Stop doing this.
Yeah.
Now, so what do you got next for us?
So following up on the whole like cabin theme, I have the
Yeah.
Evil Dead remake, and the remake
Yes,
specifically.
I like the
is,
remake.
I don't. I think it's just meh. And I'm saying the remake only because I haven't seen the original one still, like all the way through, which I still should, but I don't know. The remake honestly didn't like convince me to put it at the top of my priorities. Um, but yeah,
I like the remake. I don't care what anybody says.
the special effects were fine, and it's on the list because for some reason, like, all the paranormal shit is contagious. Like, if you get bitten by someone or just, I don't know, you could just catch the evil. Is weird. I wasn't into it, and the characters are really stupid. They're like, oh, we need to bring her to the hospital, blah blah blah. When witchy shit is going on, they're just like, they still have no idea what's going on. Like, nothing paranormal or of the sort has crossed their minds whatsoever. And I just didn't buy it. Like, the production is fine, the special effects are fine, the cast is fine. It's just a really dumb movie, and I don't like it. It takes itself too seriously. That's about
I like
it.
Jen Levy a lot too, though.
Yeah, she's a good actress.
She's great.
Yeah.
And I don't care what anybody says. I like her new TV show too.
The TV show. Oh, she was in the TV show.
She's in a TV show.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
That playlist TV show where she can hear people saying in her head. I like that.
Oh yeah, Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist.
Yeah, I like it. I don't care what anybody else says. I like it.
Yeah. All right. But yeah, that's all I have to say about that.
So I'm changing it up a little bit. I did some research for once, before we got on here, and I found out there are actually 3 movies based on one novel that all have similar themes, and they're all made in different decades.
Huh. What is it?
Hear me out. Richard Matheson's 1954 novel I Am Legend made into 3 different movies. Obviously 2007's I Am Legend, but also 1971's The Omega Man starring Charlton Heston, and 1964's The Last Man on Earth starring the wonderful Vincent Price.
What? Those are all based on the same thing?
All 3 of those are based on... So Vincent Price's movie kept the plot but got rid of the name. I Am Legend kept the name but got rid of the plot. And the Omega Man is just sort of a hammy 70s version in between both of them. Honestly, the 3 I like Last Man on Earth. In fact, I like it so much that we did an article when we first started the website called 100 Films You Need to See But You Haven't. Mm-hmm. And that movie's actually on it.
Wow. Huh. That's weird.
Yeah, so it's all coming full circle here, 5-6 years later now. And yeah, so if you want to check out another really, really cool survival movie, there's 3 of them for you there. All based on the same novel, but I would recommend Last Man on Earth from 1964 with Vincent Price. You can check out the other 2 if you want to, but I don't like the Will Smith I Am Legend. So,
do you think they keeping the ending, the alternate ending for I Am Legend would have made it better?
You mean the actual ending from the book? Yeah, it would have.
Yeah. Okay. So if it had that ending, would you watch it again?
No, still wouldn't do that. Still don't like the movie.
I'm just asking because
it goes back to your previous point, though, about CGI not aging well.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Because the CGI in that looks bad.
Yeah, it just doesn't look like something I could buy into really well, except for the doggy aspect. But at the same time, that's also been done to death. Like, oh, there's a dog in the movie? That's not a good sign. Nothing good is going to come from that.
Yeah,
Doggy is just there for an emotional pull, and then Doggy gets taken away, and you're like, oh, well, that sucks. Doesn't make it a good movie.
Why the doggy?
Why Doggy? Why?
Why the doggy? Why?
Alright, so,
how dare you?
My next picks, I'm just going to bunch together, because I don't super care about them.
Yeah, good, because I only have one more left, so.
All right, so I'm gonna bunch them together. So I have Here Alone, which is a smaller indie horror movie. It's more drama than it is horror because it's about the zombie outbreak, but it's more so about this woman who is isolated and she's trying to survive, but also cope with surviving, carrying the weight of the death of her. I think her baby died and her husband also died. So she's also trying to like figure out whether or not she wants to reconnect with people at all or if she should just keep going all by herself or whatever. And it's not a super memorable movie, but I think it's good enough for what it is. I don't remember it being super long. It's an okay like multitasking movie, and the reason why I mention it and I'm giving it as many props as it is because a worse movie came out after, and I think Here Alone might actually be on Netflix still, or at some point it was on Netflix, but then a Netflix original came out called Cargo, starring The Hobbit, and it was so bad.
Martin Freeman.
Yeah, Martin Freeman. Sir Martin Freeman, who is he's generally a good actor, but
Is he a sir?
Huh?
Is he a sir?
No, I just called him sir because I'm trying to be nice. I mean, he could be a sir if he wants to. He could be a mister, he could be a sir, whatever. I don't care. But his movie sucked. And it wasn't his fault, but he looked really tired and bored all throughout, even though he's trying to like carry his child to safety or whatever, and he's turning into a zombie. It was just kind of a convoluted plot. It was like a one-off episode of The Walking Dead or something, but probably worse because it was really boring, and I did not like any of the characters, I don't think. And yeah, just really forgettable. And then after that, I have a Sundance movie from last year's Sundance called Little Monsters, starring our queen, Lupita Nyong'o, and she is Queen. She is the only reason to watch that movie. But even then, I don't know. It has some redeeming aspects. I believe it's on Hulu, if I'm correct.
It is on Hulu, and also Here Alone is on Netflix. You were correct.
Aha! Yay! So if you want a mellow zombie movie, watch Here Alone, not Cargo. Little Monsters is fine. It's like it's kind of, what do you call it? It's another zombie movie, but it's a comedy. It's a zombie comedy. Josh Gad is fucking in it, and he's the most annoying person ever. He's like this vulgar, foul-mouthed, perverted, like child entertainer. Like he's on a children's show or some shit, and he's got puppets, and he's just loud and obnoxious. He's like the anti-Olaf. It's horrible, and I hate it, and I really hated watching him. He's a good actor, and I'm sure he's a funny dude and stuff, but it was just really grating to watch him play this character that just felt really familiar. It felt like a warped 2000s Jonah Hill character. He was just trying to be like the worst person on earth, and the plot is kind of thin, but Lupita is still so good, and she beats up a bunch of zombies, and she's this kindergarten teacher just trying to take care of all of her kids and stuff, and everyone else, and she whoops ass. She's really badass. And that's the only reason to watch this movie, honestly. Other than that, I don't see anything else redeeming about it. And those are my mellow, like, low-key movies that I have on here. What's your last pick?
Well, my last pick, and then I got one low-key pick. My last pick is going to be a 1971 movie directed by the legendary Robert Weiss, who did West Side Story, Sound of Music, and was also, I don't know if people know this, he also got nominated for Best Editing for Citizen Kane back in the 40s. Robert Weiss, his 1971 movie, The Andromeda Strain, which is based on his 1969 Michael Crichton novel. It's about an extraterrestrial being that lands on Earth and infects humanity.
Huh.
And of course, they're a team of scientists trying to investigate this organism and contain it.
Yeah.
It takes place in New Mexico. It's crazy. There's not a lot of not too much to say about it except for the fact that there's victims' blood being crystallized and
Ooh.
people dying quickly, and alkaline in the seawater and all kinds of crazy shit happening.
Okay.
There's not too much to say about it. I haven't seen it in quite some time. Maybe 20 years ago.
Oh, shit.
They actually did a miniseries as well in 2008. A&E did a 2-night miniseries.
What?
I don't know that I recommend that as much as I like the original movie. So maybe if you're going to watch one of the two, stick to the 71 movie instead of the 2008 miniseries.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe do that.
Yeah. I'm always hearing about it. It always sounds really interesting. You said their blood gets crystallized?
At a certain point, yeah.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, that's always fun, right?
Family
Basically turn into a human popsicle, yeah.
Yeah, it's like blood bending.
Okay, I don't watch that show, but okay, I know the reference.
Yeah, me too. Haven't watched it.
Know the reference.
Yeah.
No, and then my quick pick is going to be Anna and the Apocalypse, which is a zombie Christmas music.
Yeah. Oh yeah, from Sundance.
Yeah, shout out to that boy, Raf.
Dat boy.
Sorry you can't come to America because of all this.
Yeah. I hope Fantastic Fest comes through, honestly.
We'll see how that goes. That's a whole nother story for a whole nother podcast when it gets closer to that time.
Yeah.
As far as this goes, this has been our list of pandemic movies. That hopefully, we won't have to experience too much of this in the future. Shay, where can they find you if they want to look you up on the interwebs and not follow you?
Well, you can follow me on Instagram at redshoes99. That's my personal Instagram. But more importantly, I also have an art Instagram because I'm an illustrator and I do commissions to eat. So you can find that at redshoes _artblues. You can also find me on Facebook, but please don't. Or you could just, look up my work on the Film Snob page. That's even better. Do that, because I like what I write. So, I'm proud. I've achieved over 100 articles now. So that's pretty cool.
She's proud of all of her work, especially the fact that she pissed off Eliza Hittman. Which
oh my gosh,
really fun.
I would love to talk about that at some point.
Yeah, we'll get into that some other time.
Yeah.
But for now, you can make sure you follow us, guys, at Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, at Film Snob Reviews. But also, we have a Patreon. Give us money. We need it.
Please.
That's patreon.com/Film Snob Reviews. Different tiers. If you get into the $5 tier, you get your name said on every one of these every month that you are a patron of this fine art that we try to do here. Make sure you keep it posted here. And follow us here on the website. We're going to be on Apple soon. Right now we're on SoundCloud for sure. For Film Snob Reviews, this is William, and we'll see you next time.
Bye!